Hello, it's Lily K with another video. Today, I call this video Nail Talk. Basically, I'm going to be talking as we're doing my nails. So, first things first, I'm going to remove the nail polishes already on my fingers. Yep. So, I don't know what to start with, but I'm gonna go ahead and start with my nails. So this week has been a little bit busy, I guess. I feel like I basically barely do anything. And I do a lot of things, but like I clean the house around the house and stuff. And that's what basically is a boring week. But I know I'm going to a skate rink, and there's going to be like pizza and stuff. And I'm going with my brother to like a skating rink, and we're just going to go skate for a while. Sounds fun, but after I upload this video, I think it already has happened and it already has passed. But yeah, so that's what's happening. So just like, did you ever like, when you first wake up, do you always like take an energy drink and like drink it and your heart is like racing and stuff? That literally happened to me today. But what's interesting, and does anyone else use like these for like moving nail polish besides me? Because I cannot move nail polish with those big fluffy things. It's just weird to me. I'm not really good with nails, but I just paint nails because I like to wear nail polish a lot. There's some jobs you cannot wear nail polish to, like a factory. If you work at a factory that works with medical stuff or with food, you cannot wear nail polish. And a lot of people maybe be upset with that, but I think it makes more sense because when you do work with food or medical things, you cannot wear nail polish because stuff can get damaged and ruined and all that. It's just one of those things where you're just like, it sucks, but if it was you and you found like hair in your food, and then this company can get sued and you can be out of a job. That's why people do not wear nail polish when they're like working in a factory, or like if they're working with medical things. You cannot wear makeup nor nail polish, or else people can get sick from whatever you did, because you don't want things that are damaged or ruined, and that's why a lot of companies do that. And so like that's why I know I talk a lot, but there's a lot of things I could say. Maybe this is a little bit more controversial. Maybe I should have done a different topic. So I've been like writing stories lately. I've been like trying to write stories, and sometimes when you go through the story, I know a lot of people who write books understood this. When people write books, they have to go through it, and then when they go through it, they're like, this sentence doesn't make sense. That's what's going on with me when I'm writing my story. It's like, this story doesn't make any sense. This grammar doesn't make sense. Why did I put it this way instead of this way? You know? I have a paper towel here, so my surface doesn't get dirty. So that's what's happening with me. I've been like it would be like a late night, and then when it's like late in the night, you're like have this idea, you have this rush of energy to write the story, and you have an idea what to add, and then when you add stuff, like the other day I wrote my story, which is called The Three Women Waiting, which is basically about this king who needs to find a wife, basically. Actually, it's about a prince looking for a wife, because that's basically what it's all about. But I messed up the grammar where he was like laying in his bed, and this is what he was thinking in his bed, basically. He was like laying on his bed thinking about the situation he's dealing with, you know? Or thoughts and stuff. And that's why I was writing, it's the story. And the thing is, there is an ending to it. I don't like to start, I like the the end stories. I do not like the stories that are like stop at the end. I'm like, I'd rather not have a cliffhanger. I'd rather have it like, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna do, this is the story. I don't like it when there's like, it just stops. I don't like stories when it just stops. I'd rather it tells the story on who he chooses or what he does and all that jazz, right? And I think my stories are more likely for children because I have a child reading level. Okay, probably not a child reading level, but the way I write, it sounds like a child would write it or reads it and stuff. And I feel like I don't want I feel like the queen that I wrote in her sounds like a man, and then the prince sounds like a girl, which is weird. Because he's not a girl, he's a man, he's a boy, you know? He's basically 18 in this story that I'm writing. But what it's basically about is that he has to marry a woman to become his queen, and then when he becomes... before he becomes king, he has to marry a princess, and that's basically their law in their kingdom, is that they have to be married or else they can't rule the kingdom. So that's why he's getting married to this princess. Be married to a person. And it didn't matter who he married. He had to just marry somebody. It didn't matter if she was rich, poor, ugly, whatever. It didn't matter. He had to marry. So that's basically what the story is about, is that he has to pick a girl. And there was like 3 maidens, I guess. And this nail polish is not coming off. So yeah. Also, I've been writing stories and stuff, but I've been really tired by like writing stories, and then you wait. And then when you start reading it out loud, and you're like, oh, this grammar doesn't work. It's kind of like that. Like, I've been writing stories like in the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep, so I write my story. And then when you like write for 2 hours or so, and it's 5 o'clock at night, you're just like, man. And then when you wake up the next morning, you're like, wait, what did I just do to this? This grammar doesn't work properly. And you know how like when you write stuff and you're writing stuff in your head and you're just waiting, and then you reread it out your mouth, you're just, wait a second. Also, I'm writing on paper, not online, so like, basically that's what's going on here. This nail polish doesn't want to come off. I'm gonna let that soak for a little bit on here. It does not want to come off. This is like, I know I painted my nails the other day, and then my nail polish started to chip off, and that's what's happening. So, does anyone else like paints their nails but they only have like a little bit of nail polish off? Do you ever paint them with like a different color? That's what I do most of the time. I know I was talking about stories and how I like writing stories, and I was talking about middle of the night, but you know, this nail polish is not coming off, so we're gonna leave it as is. I think these are called cotton swabs I'm using. I like writing stories because it kind of like try to make you picture what's happening in your mind. Like you know, that's what I'm thinking. It's like when you write stories, you're trying to show you what you see through a book, how you see things and how it goes. And that's how like a lot of writers want people to do. And also, I always thought, oh, this would be cool for a book, or this is a good idea. And most of the time, I get those ideas from like writing something. Like I would draw a picture or something, and I get ideas from my pictures and stuff. And I have a list of like books that I'm writing. There's one called The Magic Well, basically about these 2 sisters. There's no way it's gonna be about me and mine, but I think it's basically these girls have like these magical powers. These girls live in 2 different houses. They're like, it's a magical place, so it's like a back in the olden days magic thing where it's called where they go by this magic well. But like these 2 girls live in a different house One's rich, one's poor, basically. And they have these like magical powers. The one girl can see people's thoughts, emotions, and who they truly are as a person. So who they truly are, how they truly act, and how they truly are. She can see them and she can read them like a book, like really quickly. She can know what they're thinking of, who they are as a person. If they act nice, she knows they're mean inside. She knows who that person is, basically, by like just looking at them. You know? Not by the face, but just by looking at them. She can immediately tell what they're feeling and who they are and how they act and stuff. You know? She can see who they are. And then the other sister who lives with her. And the thing is, this girl, I'm going to call her Jenny because that's her name in the book, is that Jenny can read people like a book. And then Ember, who is her sister, who lives with a rich man, which they don't know they're sisters, is that Jenny cannot read Ember's thoughts or emotions or who she is. Because they're sisters. That's basically genetics. But no one can read Jenny's emotions, but Ember can. It's a very interesting thing. Ember doesn't have magical powers like Jenny because Jenny's the oldest, but Ember can read Jenny's emotions, who can read everyone else's emotions, because that's like, I think that could be like a curse where no one can see Jenny's emotions except Ember. And Ember and Jenny actually became good friends with one another in the book, They just started being friends, but when they realized that they were sisters, they only realized that by the magic well, who told them that they owned a castle together, and that they were one sisters, but the castle was being destroyed and all that. I don't know I don't know the whole story of this one because it's just like, I don't know. But I like the idea when they did the magic, when people did the magic well, where the magic well was like, give me your riches and I'll give you 3 wishes. And, they were all, Jenny already knew she was adopted, but Ember didn't know she was adopted. So Jenny told Ember that she was adopted by her father, and her father, who was the rich guy, didn't, And I don't know what I was going to add to the story, but there's just interesting things that I want to add. There's also one story that I started to write called Birds Fly Away, which is about a princess who doesn't want to be a princess, but she loved her mother so deeply that she actually passed away. And I know there's I don't know why. Like, I don't know why she didn't want to be a princess. I think she didn't care about the beauty and stuff. I didn't give it, like, an answer of why she didn't want to be a princess. I think that's when she started. I think that leads up to her mother's death, I guess. I don't know. After her mother died in the story, it's that she didn't want to be a princess. She wanted to follow her own destiny of who she wanted to be, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get that idea of why she didn't want to be a princess. I think it's just, how, like, it's like asking somebody, do you like pink or purple? And they're like, I like both. Or like something. It's like, that's a bad example. It's like, why do you like to draw? Well, because I like it. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I like it. That's basically what it is. Ember doesn't, the name of the book is Birds Fly Away. The girl I'm talking about in the story is Liberta. That's literally what her name is Liberta. And she doesn't want to be a princess. And people might ask the story, why? Well, because she doesn't want to. That's the whole point of it, is that she doesn't want to be a princess. Like, it's not because she doesn't want to. I think she just doesn't want to be a princess, That's basically what it is. And I'm, like, starting to write these stories and stuff. I don't know why I went down to this topic, but this nail, this is probably the worst part about this part, is doing my nails. say this is the worst part by like trying to remove all the nail polish you have on your fingernails when I'm trying to talk. And when I'm back, all the nail polish will be off, and then we can get to the fun part where we paint my nails. So all my nail polish is off. Now I'm gonna file my nails. Does anyone ever like when they go out to places, or like when people look at you, that you just look very young to them, that you're actually a different age? Yeah, that happens to me multiple times. People might look at me, because sometimes I act like a child sometimes too, but like other times sometimes people look at me like I am like a child, and because they think I act like one too, but when people look at you, they think you look like a child. I know, like, what her name is, what's her name? I know this girl, she looks like she's like she does look like 8, but she's like in her 20s right now. Like, she's 23 right now, I think. So, yeah. I don't know what color nail polish I was gonna pick, but that's how it is with me. Sometimes you just think, I'm an adult. They might look at me like I'm a teenager, and I'm like, I'm an adult. That's how it is with like the Merrill twins. They look like they're teenagers, but they're actually adults. That means you aged well. That means you look good. That's a good thing, at least. I'm trying to find an outfit that would match my outfit tomorrow. I just don't know what color I would want. I have a lot of nail polish. I just don't know which one I want to wear. I might go with pink, because that's probably what I'm gonna wear tomorrow. Anyway, because pink is like my favorite color ever. I might do pink and some sparkles or something. Maybe pink or something. Maybe like pink and orange or something. I don't know. I could do pink and purple. Pink is always like my favorite color. I always don't know why. But anyway, I was talking about like, they look at you and they think, wow, you look so young for your age. There was one time I was working at a nursery at Westside. Someone like literally talked to me and say, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm this age. And they're like, then they asked me what kind of makeup I use, and I'm like, I don't wear makeup. I don't wear makeup that often, honestly. I don't wear makeup at all, like, especially if I go to places, especially when I go to places, I don't wear makeup all the time, unless I'm, like, cosplaying as somebody, if I'm just cosplaying as, like, Pinkie Pie or Fluttershy, I would use those. I'm gonna do blue with my pink. But that's how I am. It's like, I would cosplay only, that's the only roughly I would wear is makeup around like cosplay or to if I'm going to a wedding or something. That's the only time I would probably wear makeup. So this girl asked me if I wear makeup, and I said I don't wear nothing. I don't wear any makeup. And she's like, "Whoa, girl." And I'm like, yeah. And that's literally my age. My family knows my age. My cousins, uncles, aunts, sister, brother would know my age. And I bet if they knew my mom or my sister or my brothers or my whole family, they would know what my age is. They would know what my age is. They can guess. People might guess my age and they probably guess wrong. I'm not talking about going to a carnival where guys guess your ages and stuff, and they answer questions and stuff. Anywho, that's what I'm thinking is that people have a hard time guessing my age. I'm actually gonna get that. But roughly, that's how it is. It's like people look at you and they think you're this specific age, but you're not. And sometimes you might talk like that. Not because you don't mean to talk like that, or you don't mean to talk in a way. Like, sometimes I have a hard time explaining things when I talk. And sometimes my mind just blabbers whatever there is. Yeah, I'm drying my hands right now. I just blabber whatever I want to talk about, but I do like to talk. I just like to talk because sometimes I always have thoughts in my mind that just rambles. You know what I hate? Well, not hate, but like, what I dislike is that when people decide, or Hollywood decided to change things instead of getting their own original ideas, no one really makes their own original ideas from a movie or book or anything. Well, not a book. They get their own. They don't make their own original ideas. They only make those. They only do that for, like, how to explain it? You know how, like, people only get ideas from, like, Narnia or the other show of Narnia? So, like, it's like, you get your own ideas. They will grab a book of some sort and change the book or the storyline. And I'm like, why do you do that? When you actually read the book, you're like, oh, that's what happened. The only thing I can say that's close, like, okay, for anime is very close to the original storyline. Then the actual people in Hollywood who would just say, oh, this book sounds interesting, I'm gonna change it into this way instead of this way. I'm like, don't do that. Anime is the closest thing that actually gets closer to the storyline of the manga. So manga is related to anime, and the manga is really close. The manga is actually relates good to the anime, and I'm just like, can you not do that, please? It's annoying when people take a book or a movie or something and they change it. Like, good change, fine. If you're changing, like, My Little Ponies to make it a better one, that's okay. But when people just change the story, the original story, it kind of makes people not want to read the actual book and actually understand that actually happens. I'm doing speaking again. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing on the other hand. So, like, that really bugs me when Hollywood people would change the whole complete story of the book. So, like, in my Babysitter's Club, I was on Netflix, and when you watch it, they have like these iPhones and stuff, right? And my thing is, iPhones, back in where there's Babysitter's Club, they babysit children, and back then they only used phones that were connected to the wall. And it would make more sense to, like, teach kids that, hey, back then in 19-something, they used this type of phone to call people. And I like the old version of Babysitter's Club than the newer version, especially with when you read the book, you kind of understood it better. But now when they start changing it, it's like, that's not how it happened. That's not right. And you get more, and based on the movie, you get more details in a book than you do in a movie, it feels like. That's why Ramona likes to read books. You know? And also, when you read books, you exercise your mind. And I'm one of those old ladies. I'm gonna say I'm one of the old ladies who, I'm not an old lady, but, like, I'm young for my age, but I'm, like, one of the old ladies who just doesn't like reading books on iPads or anything like that. I don't like that. It hurts my eyes. It strains my eyes. I prefer to read it on paper. And I know my family members know that I only like to read on paper. It's just one of those things where you're just like, I cannot read on an iPad or a TV, or, you know, like, I cannot read on a computer or my phone or anything. Like, they could be good stories on, like, yeah, they're good stories, but I don't like reading online. I'm one of those, like, I like to watch movies and TV shows. I'm not against watching movies and TV shows. I'm just saying is that sometimes I wish people have, like, their own original idea of, like, making their own movies and TV shows. Because if you got your own original idea, if you're like, oh, this would sound like good, like a movie or something, then I'll be like, okay, you got your original idea, this is how you think about it, and this is how you feel. So that's basically what I'm saying, is that I don't like it when people take books and they change the complete storyline of it. Or they don't add things to it that is important. And I feel like a lot of people, well, not a lot of books, but maybe some books, and a lot of the times when people, and a lot of the times I don't like when people act dumb in shows and stuff. And that's when my nail polish away because I'm done painting my nails. But basically that's how I feel. I know I'm talking about books and movies and stuff. It's just I dislike how people would take stories and not make it their own. Like, they take stories and completely change the storyline instead of, like, making it your own story. Like, if you want something related to that kind of story, then change the name, change the idea, and change what it is about. Do not copy. If you're not going to copy the book, then change the storyline. Change it completely, because don't change the storyline. If you're not going to make it exactly like the book, the first Narnia that Disney did, the first Narnia that they made was closer to the book, and it was better, and it was good. That was close to the book. Now when I watch, like, Alice in Wonderland or watch a show that's closer to a book, I'm like, or when I watch Alice in Wonderland, and it makes me sometimes want to actually read the book instead of watching the movie. Yes, I don't mind watching the movie. I'm just saying is that I prefer to watch something that's really close to the movie, close to the book, than actual changing the movie completely, changing the book completely. So I don't, like, try to make your own ideas, but I understand it's hard to make your own ideas when you have no time for it. Another thing, I like to read paper books because I already gave you my reason. And some glitter nail polish because I'm a glitter girl. I like glitter. It's not glittery as I wanted it to be, but I'm gonna not fill with glitter. Make it glittery. Yeah, so basically I just wanted to say is that that's what I'm trying to say is that that's my personal opinion. People can at me at it. I don't care personally. That is my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But I'm just rambling, basically. I'm just gonna ramble. And sometimes I might not know what I'm talking about. But that's the point of rambling and stuff. So it's just getting some ideas and stuff. Just letting my nails dry, but it's just a rambling talk where I just paint my nails and talk. And I just call it nail talk because I'm doing my nails as I'm talking about random garbage that I don't need to talk about. But, like, I don't mind Disney's. Everyone disliked Encanto, but I actually loved Encanto. I like the idea that Mirabelle didn't get a gift, and everyone's gonna be like, why? Because, okay, for me personally, I think her gift was already with her when she was born. She was gonna be the next heir or something to the thing. Because if you think about it, when the grandmother dies, someone has to take her place. So Mirabelle's gonna take her place, right? But I think Mirabelle already had a gift by, like, encouragement. She had a gift of encouragement. it might not be like the amazing powers that her sisters or her aunts or her family members had, even though, you know, that's how it is. But I feel like Mirabel didn't deserve a gift. I think her gift, she already had it. And she should be happy with herself. And that's better, you know? And also she encouraged, I feel like she encouraged, you know, I feel like she encouraged or helped lift her family up a little bit, you know? That's why I think, that's how my thought process is that I think Mirabel didn't deserve the gift because I think she already had the gift inside her all along. That's what I thought the story was about. And everyone loved Bruno, man. My sister loved Bruno and all that. I love Bruno too. He was fun. He was fun to talk about. And I know like Disney the people who made Encanto were really fighting for one of the other girls. I don't know if they're actually princesses or not, but everyone always literally they were fighting for Lisa, for like the girl who was like the strong girl. You know, I can't remember her name. I think her name is Lisa. But that's like my point was that what was my point? My point was that they were literally people were fighting for Lisa who was the strong girl, you know, who loves goats and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like we want girls of all different shapes and sizes and different colors and different things. Like, why not? I can't be like Jasmine. I can't be that skinny, you know? I can't be that skinny, you know? Not a lot of people are not that skinny. I'm just not saying like being fat is bad either. I'm not saying, okay. How am I gonna put this? Alright, so a lot of Disney was fighting for Sarah. So yeah. For this one person who's strong. You know? Well, girls can be strong too, but Mirabel didn't believe in herself in that. Mirabel in Encanto. She only when she finally believed in herself and everything became better. Also, I like it because it showed that no one is actually truly perfect when you're trying to be people. There's always that one person that you might not like in the family, you know? So, yeah. I think those are all my things that I was talking about. So, my nails are painted. They're just I hope they like show a little bit glitter on camera, but if you can't see that, that's fine. But I decided to do pink nails with one blue color. It could also be a pattern too, but like, doesn't matter. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you in the next video when it gets out. Bye!